Shalom, family. I know this is a last minute thing, and we're going to talk about something that came out on TikTok. So I'm just going to play some music to give people an opportunity to come in. How you doing, Kid Gravity? And um, and then we'll get started. There's something I want y'all to hear. And let me just turn the music on. That way it'll allow people to come in. All right. All right. Just give me 1 second. I'm almost done. All right. So. All right. Okay, everybody. We're going to just do a quick live shalom to everybody in the chat. It's good to see everybody. I hope everybody had a good time during the live stream yesterday. It was fun. And we'll definitely be doing it again. I'm going to try to do the current events more often. So, there was a video I saw on TikTok this morning, and I want y'all to see this because there's this woman that says that slaves, black people enjoyed being slaves. That's what she said. They had to enjoy it. Now, y'all, listen. I have listened to slave narratives, especially off and on when I was growing up. I have never heard one that was elated about being a slave. In fact, many of them talk about how rotten and evil their slave owners were. If you go and listen to those slave narratives, you don't hear many of them talking in favor of their owners. Okay, you just don't, for very obvious reasons. And not only that, you don't see a lot of that in history. You don't. And a lot of times, if they did say those kind of things, it was out of fear, not because they really meant it. A lot of things were done in fear, not in love at all. So let me go ahead. I want to show you this video. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, I don't want this. I don't want that. I want this. All right, now this ain't, let me stop sharing. Hold on one second.
People enjoyed being slaves back when slavery was a thing.
Well, how do you know that Black people enjoy being slaves?
I mean, it's just in history. I've read about a lot of Black people not only participated in capturing slaves, but a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves. Because of course, when you're really? Brought up doing something like being a slave your whole life, it's all you know. I'm sure a lot of slaves probably enjoyed it and were happy because that's the only lifestyle they were aware of.
That's crazy.
Can you not think like that? Is it really that dead?
I never thought I'd be making a video like this because I thought we all came to a consensus that slavery was bad, and overall in general, it was bad. But what? She goes on to say that there was probably good slave owners, they probably treated theirs good, but slaves are below human level. People thought of slaves as not human. They whipped them. They made them work long hours without pay. They fed them scraps. What person would you think? Your dog right now, if you release him off his leash, he runs away. And you give him everything he needs. He's not even a slave.
Right. And he brings a good point, because I've had a dog. My last dog died in 2016. I had my dog for 19 years. He lived a long time, probably a lot longer than the average dog. And you can put a solid roof over your dog's head. You can feed them, give them water, give them a good life. And any opportunity, I've seen well-trained dogs do this, that will walk with their owners without a leash. But the moment that gate is blown open because maybe a storm came through, even that well-trained dog is out of the yard and running away. You know why? Because everything on this planet have a desire to be free. Everything, including that dog you got hosed up in your house. He also has a desire to be free. Everything does. Okay? Now, we know what's going to happen. The first will become last, and the last will become first. And see, I hope she still has that same energy when her people goes into captivity. So what you're saying is long as the owner kept you in inhumane conditions, as long as he threw slop at you every day and you got to eat some of the worst food on the planet, then you were happy. Let her keep that same energy when it's her people. So let me go ahead and continue on with this.
Let me calm my emotions down because they're a little bit too high. I want to get my point across. No part of slavery was good. None of it. Black people would not have been better off being slaves. No. And no, slavery was not good for black people either when they were doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And she was trying to say, well, all slave masters weren't bad. They didn't all whip their slaves and treated them bad. She's talking as if she was back in those times, or actually sat down and had a conversation with these slaves. I mean, that's the way she was coming off. Oh, how do you know they weren't all treated bad? I tell you what, when I listened to those slave narratives, all the ones I listened to, they were treated bad. And they'll tell you which slave owner was wicked and nasty and mean, and tell you how they conducted themselves around the slaves every day. No, I'm willing to bet more were horrible than they were good. I doubt if very many of them were good at all. And then she talking about it's in history. What history have you read where slaves were elated to be one? She didn't read that anywhere. She's full of crap. But unfortunately, there are many walking around like this. They know they've done us wrong, y'all. You know how you know? By the fact that they're trying to change the history. They're trying to change the history to absolve themselves from the guilt of what has happened. That is the only reason why the history is being changed. It's not being changed for any other reason. They don't want what they've actually done in the history for their children to see. And see, they are the ones that are using their children as a shield. They're using their children as a human shield. Oh, it's to protect the kids. No, it's to gatekeeper your guilt. That's what it's for. It's not for any other reason. See, you want to look squeaky clean in history, and there's no way to do it. There's no way to do it than to outright lie about the history. Okay? There's no other way to do it. So, yeah, I mean, the nerve of somebody whose people never suffered, got the nerve to tell the people that did suffer what was good. All right. She couldn't pretty up slavery even if I were drunk listening to her. Okay. She couldn't pretty that up at all. And the fact that her people are changing the history, that is the shame that is spoken about in the Bible. They would be covered in shame. Yeah, so much ashamed that they're trying to change what actually happened. That is the shame you're looking at. But that's okay. She and her folks are about to find out. They know what's coming. They know what's coming. That's why you're seeing so many acting the fool these days. They know what's coming. Mhm. They know. And what they're trying to do now is control the narrative. They're trying real hard to control the narrative. And what they don't realize, it can't be controlled. It can't at all. Mhm. That judgment is here. You see what that eclipse is doing? It's gonna put the X right across America. It is done. It is done. And you know that eclipse is very significant. Yeah, I heard about it's gonna cross over 6 Ninevehs and Salems, and the one in 2017 crossed over a lot of places with the towns called Salem, and Salem is short for Jerusalem. And it's going to cross over where the Revolutionary War jumped off. Do you know that? It's actually going to cross right over the place where the Revolutionary War began. And yes, it's going to cross over a place called Rapture, Indiana, I believe. Rapture, Indiana. So, yeah, there's a lot of significant things that are going to occur during that eclipse. That's why do you think they're so scared? You notice they are more in fear of that eclipse than we are. Did any of you take notice of that? I have. I have been observing it for like the last year. Every time they talk about the eclipse, them folks, every time they talk about the eclipse, you can hear the fear in their voice. And every time you hear our people talk about it, the one thing we'll do is we'll talk about facts or the things that is going to happen that correlates with the Bible, or we'll talk about, the prophecy, the judgment. That's how we talk about it. When them folks talk about it, it's a lot of fear in what they're saying. It is steeped in fear. And I notice it's very different and how we address the eclipse and how they address the eclipse. It's like night and day. It's night and day. Yes. It is a time in history that many of our forefathers didn't get to live, but we are going to live to see this moment. We are going to live to see it, y'all. Yes, we are. Yes, it is. But that is the kind of stuff they have been saying, y'all, since chattel slavery. If you look at some of the things that were written during those times, they were even writing that. Oh, well, the slaves were singing on the plantation, they're happy. No, they weren't singing because they were happy. They weren't singing because they're happy. Remember, that's where country music and the blues came from, the plantation fields. If you look at the origins of country music and blues, it spoke about many of the things that were happening to them, and those things were not good. It wasn't good at all, you know? And so, no, that just because they were singing gospel hymns and singing country and blues, that doesn't mean that was happy. They were happy. Sometimes you did that to pass the time. If they did certain things and worked, it kind of helped pass the time. It had nothing to do with being happy. But this is what happens. When you listen to her, it really brings home just what it says in the Bible, that a foolish nation would be over us. Only a fool would think somebody enjoyed slavery. It is the truth. They are a foolish nation. They are. You got to be a fool to open your mouth and say stuff like that. You got to be a complete fool. And no matter what you change in history, the Most High ain't going by what you wrote. So you're doing it all in vain. He doesn't care what you sat down and wrote. He's going by what he said is going to happen, not by what you scratched down on some piece of paper in an effort to change your history. He's not going by that. You're right. So they're renaming the Key Bridge to Lance Reddit Bridge. So it's no longer the Francis Scott Key Bridge, Kid Gravity. Yeah, like that's going to really help. And besides, they can't get that bridge back up that quickly. That's going to take years to, even if they could get it back up, that would take years for them to do it. When that bridge, I'm kind of glad you brought that up, Kid Gravity. When that bridge came down, they said in 2023, a total of 35 bridges fell down in the US. And you notice you don't hear about this stuff in the news. It just goes to show you that every day they paint this fake narrative about the shape that this country is in. And it just goes to show you, once they slap these bridges up, there is no maintenance done on it. None. There is no maintenance done. I was saying yesterday during the live stream, there is a small bridge around where I live. Y'all, I kid you not, every, I would say 3 to 5 years, that bridge falls down. Every 3 to 5 years, that bridge collapses. And it's been that way all throughout my lifetime. And I'm like, why can't y'all just fix the bridge and keep it in good shape? I kid you not, every 3 to 5 years, that bridge goes out. And they go out, repair it, it opens back up, then something happens to it again. I have never seen it go a good 10 years without something happening to this small bridge. And it's a small bridge, it's not even big, and they can't even keep that thing up and running. So that's a small bridge. You're talking about the Key Bridge, which was way bigger. And all it took was one barge to hit a column and the whole thing came down. One hit. That was it. One hit. But these folks want you to believe they're advanced. They got high IQs and they're advanced. Yeah, okay. I worry about, the Delaware Memorial Bridge. You know how many times I've been over that bridge? I used to go over that bridge all the time. The Verrazano Bridge in New Jersey that goes into New York, that one ain't in great shape either. And thousands of people go across that Verrazano Bridge every single day. And that bridge needs maintenance so badly. It's not even funny. It really is it's listed as one of the bridges at risk. After the Key Bridge came down, they did a list of bridges at risk. And that Verrazano Bridge, which I've been over that bridge too, that one, man, it really does need work. And Delaware Memorial, yeah, you're right about that one. I've been over that bridge multiple times. Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of bridges. I used to go over the Ben Franklin Bridge a lot. When I worked in Pennsylvania, Walt Whitman Bridge, Betsy Ross Bridge. Now, the one we got another bridge, but it's small. It's called the Bristol Bridge. In the winter, that bridge tends to get stuck. Like if a boat have to go through and they have to raise the bridge, it's not unusual for that bridge to get stuck in cold weather. And a lot of people got to turn around and go a different route. It's very common. It happened to me a few times, and I had to take an alternative route to get back into New Jersey. So, yeah, these bridges are in need of a lot of work. And they don't concentrate on the infrastructure in this country. They'd rather give money for a war than fix the infrastructure here in America. I mean, just fixing the infrastructure could create a lot of good paying jobs, but they don't focus on that. That he'll announce billions that they're giving towards all these different wars, and then you don't see anything getting fixed that should be fixed. Mhm. Not just the East Coast, Tanya E. When I went to research the state that I'm in, New Jersey was all black at one time. It was all black. It was all black natives in this state. The whole state, black natives all through it. Many of them were relocated to Oklahoma, but when you go look at the history of New Jersey, this was a black state at one time. So it was more than, and I'm sure most of the East Coast was all black. But everything's going to go back, y'all, and they know it. That's why they're in such fear of this eclipse. They know what's coming. They know their time is done. The time of the Gentile is over, and they know it. They know it, but they're going to pull every sneaky trick to stay at the top. That's what they will try to do. Mm-hmm. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I never intended for this to be a long live stream. You know what? Before I go, let me bring a couple of you up and hear what you got to say about this video. Let me drop the link and y'all can come up. I'll take a few people coming up to just tell how you feel about this woman saying that black people enjoyed being slaves. There you go. Okay. Let's see if I know I'm not going to have anybody agreeing with her, but you have to be crazy to agree with her. How you doing, Kid Gravity?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Just starting the day.
So,
Yeah, this video is interesting. I think we're in the era now that, like you said, they're panicking and they're just going to throw out every lie they can so they can get right.
Yeah.
But what I said in the chat, I don't know if you saw this video, but this white woman claimed that we have the mark of Cain.
What we don't come from the line of Cain, though.
Right.
So how would we have the mark of Cain and we don't come from the line of Cain?
I don't know. Like I said, they're just throwing every lie out there right now because they're gonna have to stand in front of them and explain themselves.
Yeah, they sure will, and she's gonna have a hell of a thing to explain. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then she said it was in the Bible. So the person that she was talking
That's
to asked her where
amazing.
was it?
Yeah, it's amazing how everything's in the Bible, but everything you hear them say, you can't find it in there. I noticed that with the majority of them. They'll swear something is in the Bible, and then when you
Mhm.
go look in the Bible, it's not there. Just like they said black skin is a curse, but when you go in the Bible, it doesn't say that at all. And
Yeah,
then they say, say that, you know, uh, Canaan was the one that was cursed, right?
right.
But they have been lying to us about the curse. And what they're saying about the curse ain't even correct. So it just tells me we know they have used that Bible to weaponize against us. They have used the Bible to justify slavery. They have used the Bible to really, yeah, they said Ham was cursed, but when you go in the Bible, Canaan was cursed. Then they said we were Ham, but when you go and look in the history, we're Shem.
Yeah,
So
but they also said that,
if somebody will enslave you, why would you believe anything they say?
right? Like they even tell. It's funny too because they won't admit that the Bible talks about reparations as well. But um,
The whole
we're not gonna go
Bible,
there today.
Kid Gravity, the whole Bible talks about reparations, righting a wrong.
Hmm.
The whole thing does. But according to them, it wouldn't be right to give us reparations. We don't deserve it because we weren't alive during that time. Well, all of these Jews that you give reparations to, a lot of them walking around today, they weren't alive then. And
Right.
I'm 100% certain these natives that got reparations, they weren't the ones that went in mass graves. I'm certain of that.
Yeah. And now the Irish are in on it too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, they were slaves and they were brought over here. Okay, you indentured servants. That's all right. It's okay. Go get your money from the people that did that to you. It's okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So no matter how you look at it, it still points to the same people, don't it?
Oh yeah. But I'm just hope I'm alive when it happens, or at
Oh,
least when he calls me home, I can watch with him. So that's gonna be fun.
yes, you got that right. You got that right. But
Well,
it's
happy New Black Media Appreciation Month to you.
oh, well, I didn't know it was that month, but the same to you.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
go. I'm gonna go enjoy some of God's oxygen.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom.
Is there anyone else that want to come up and comment? If not, I'll just go ahead and conclude. Mm-mm-mm. All right, y'all. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I had to move my other live stream back until 1:30. So I will see you all then. Shalom, family.